3, 2, 1.
And now, you're tuned into the Navarro-Miller Report, featuring the hottest in news, entertainment, sports, and all those topics for the mainstream audience. The Navarro-Miller Report.
Examine your reality.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Navarro-Miller Report. I'm your host, Dave Navarro.
I'm Jeremy Miller.
And we'd like to go ahead and welcome our special guest co-host, Amanda Holley. How you doing?
Hey.
Amanda, so good to have you on.
Right.
Good to see you guys.
It's been a while since we've seen you.
Yeah. I've never seen Jeremy, so.
Oh, that's true.
This is our first time.
That's true. That is very true. This is your guys' first time actually seeing each other on here, so that's new. That's fun. Anyways, we got a wonderful show for everybody today. As per Halloween, they have it's something that's been talked about pretty much all week, and that is the Zodiac Killer. Now, Amanda, I know that you're a little bit hazy on the whole story behind it, because this happened before both our times. Actually, it happened before. Actually, Jeremy, you were like a kid, right? Like during the 70s.
I was born in 76, so this was kind of going on as I was an infant, as a baby, that kind of thing. I didn't have any. No, it wasn't a bedtime story I was getting at the time.
Well,
like I said, my uncle did live up in the Bay Area at that time and was around he was up there near Haight-Ashbury through the late 60s all the way through 1980. And he lived through the Zodiac Killer era. And it was an incredibly tense time.
Wow.
No, that definitely is something that it was a time when basically, these cycles are just coming out of the right after that there was the slasher in Los Angeles. Shortly after that, it almost like they were trying to go ahead.
Ramirez.
Yeah, that was bananas. I mean, that I actually went through that. I actually lived in Los Angeles when that was going on.
Same here.
Wow.
That was when Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, was hunting LA. One of the old ladies that he murdered was only about 3 blocks from my house.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, that could have been you.
Oh yeah. Well, no, it most likely wouldn't have been, because he targeted older people, older women, basically easy targets that he could murder easily, rob, and oftentimes rape after killing them as well. He was a very interesting person.
That's the killer, the Zodiac guy?
No. This is someone different.
Later one.
Another one?
Yeah.
Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker.
Wait, did you guys see the cannibal guys in Missouri?
I didn't see that one, but I've lived through 2 of the cannibals, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Guy. Oh my God. Guys, these 2 dudes had women in cages, and they were selling the body parts in the black market. And they had
that's nice.
This just happened this week. And they had this one girl that was missing, and they found her dead body there. But her mom went missing 10 years prior, and they're like, oh my God, it was them. And they're and when they arrested the guy, he was eating a human sandwich.
Oh my God.
I'm going to have to research
that.
That is bananas. That is literally that is like I said earlier, that's Johnny Bananas crazy. That's freaking nuts. Well, as far as in regards to the Zodiac Killer, basically, what happened here is that authorities, these guys named Crime Stoppers. Now, Crime Stoppers, it's a group of people that are in military intelligence, CIA, all these people that got together trying to find the Zodiac Killer, because this is something that's been through the decades. They've been looking for this guy. He allegedly he took credit for killing over 30 people. Some people aren't really sure if he did or if he was just taking credit for it, because that's just his style. But yeah, it was nuts. It was crazy. And Crime Stoppers believe that they found a gentleman by the name of they said his name is Gary Francis Post. But Gary Francis Post, he actually passed away in 2018. So they don't know. They say that it was him, that they have proof that it was him. However, Riverside Police Department in Riverside, California are saying, they're denying this. They're saying that it's not him. They're just saying that it's not him, that they still believe that the killer was Arthur Lee Allen, who they believed was the killer back then, back in like the late 80s, early 90s. And they said that they had so much proof that they wanted, they had so much proof but not evidence enough to convict or to arrest him. And the day that they were going to actually, they got a warrant to go to his house, to his home, and they found a lot of stuff there. But before they got a chance to actually question him, he died of some sort of a heart aneurysm or heart failure, something like that. And he died before they could actually even question the guy. So either way, whether it's this post gentleman or Lee, both of them died before anybody could know if either of them was, in fact, the Zodiac killer.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing about the Zodiac. If you read about this guy, and again, we don't know anything about him particularly, but except the clues that he left, that he would send to the police, the taunts and all the riddles and things, or even just direct, rubbing their faces in it type letters. What he wanted was this mystery. He's still being talked about 50 years later.
I made a movie out of him.
People are still fascinated. Well, that's the mindset of a lot of these sociopathic mass murderers or, serial killers. They want the attention. They want the, people's eyes on them. They want that. It's one of the reasons why a lot of them end up getting caught. But the Zodiac, this guy, I really believe he wanted us doing exactly this, still debating it, still trying to work out his puzzles. His toughest cipher was literally just cracked after 50 years last year.
So he had, so his cipher, code.
The kind of key to his, codes.
Was riddle me this.
Pretty
I'm
much.
going to kill you.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's basically what it was.
But it was all in code. It was all in code that people could not, authorities couldn't make heads or tails out of it. There was a lot of speculation as to what these codes were, that they were from various books. Personally, I saw the movie and then I did the research on it, and the movie was really good. It starred Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, and Jake Gyllenhaal. And it was an incredible story. It was basically about the journalists and the police that were trying to figure this whole ordeal out. They were trying to figure this out, and they just could not figure it out. And it was one of those things where basically they were in awe of this guy. One of the most eeriest is it eerie? Something like that. One of the weirdest moments, I'll put it that way. One of the weirdest moments came when he actually called in a television show, and he was live on the air. They had stopped everybody else from calling in the show, and he was live on the air, and he actually was talking to this lawyer. Jeremy, do you remember the lawyer's name? I don't remember the name offhand.
I do not remember the name offhand.
He was there was a lawyer that was a special guest on this TV show. And he called in saying that he didn't want to die, saying that he didn't want the gas chamber, he didn't want to be hurt, saying that he had headaches. And the lawyer would be like, "Why do you have headaches?" He's like, "Ever since I killed that kid, I've had these headaches." And he would say really freaking crazy, weird shit.
Did you guys see, there was an HBO leak of a guy they did a documentary on, and he had his mic on when he went to the bathroom, but he didn't know it.
Oh, yeah.
He's talking to himself. He's like, "There's so many of them."
Yep. Yep. He was talking to himself. I actually confessed. He actually confessed.
And he's like, "I killed them all."
Yep.
And what did they do with him? Did they put him in jail? Or
actually they went ahead and the FBI is investigating it because he actually confessed. He was talking to himself, but he forgot that he had a hot mic on, and he confessed to the murders, and it was a documentary.
And he
actually confessed everything. Yeah, he had no idea. He's 80 years old, 85, 90 years old, something like that. He's an old dude.
He's old anyway,
Yeah, he's gonna go to prison and last a day and then die.
Kill his whole life, and I don't know, why was he at HBO and not in jail?
Well, they were because they were filming it.
But they
Well, it's
couldn't
also-
track them, or like.
At the time, I mean, they probably didn't have enough leads or proof. I mean, when you have a lead that suggests somebody might have done it, if they can't get the hard evidence, a lot of times they just don't want to bring it to trial until they have that, because they know if they don't get them on the first try, they can't try them again.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of times, even though they feel they have enough, it might not be enough to get that slam dunk in court, and they want to make sure they get it right on their one and only shot.
Got it.
And that's pretty much what they're looking at, what they were looking at with him, and that's what they're looking at right now. That case is actually still pending. I think I believe that's what happened right now. They're still like Jeremy said, they don't have enough evidence. They need to just because he confessed. That's the legal process. I mean, what do you want?
I mean, guilty is as guilty does. He's like, I killed that, but
I gotta agree. But
it's pretty clear. What are they gonna do with these cannibal guys?
Say again.
What are they gonna do with these cannibal guys? Like, are they still out there?
The cannibal guys? I don't know, Jeremy. What do they do with them?
Can I turn them on to some people who are sociopathic who should be in jail but aren't?
I mean, they have to do something. I mean, if they caught them red-handed eating a human sandwich, I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer was caught with, body parts in his fridge and freezer, and he had soup on the stove, I believe, when they actually caught him. And
he was a cannibal?
Oh, he was a full-blown cannibal. Jeffrey Dahmer was, yeah. And he was one of the first well-known cannibalism cases in the modern United States. Is
that what Hannibal was based on?
No, that actually was taken from a whole nother set of books.
A other guy?
Yeah, that was actually based on a guy named Ed Gein back from, I believe, the 1920s. He's also the guy that Leatherface in the Chainsaw Massacre was based on. Ed Gein was a cannibal, but he also skinned people, dried their skins. Yes, this guy, Ed Gein, he was a real guy. That's who they based those characters on. Huh?
I'm messing up your scary Halloween.
Oh, no. It's actually a true story. Ed Gein was a serial killer who used to skin his victims and then dry their skins and made himself a mask out of it and stuff. What's his name? Bill from Silence of the Lambs. That character was also based on Ed Gein. Ed Gein inspired a lot of our movie psychos in today's day and age.
Nice. So, why? Oh my gosh! Okay.
Why do I know all this?
He's got a lot of useless information.
I also was rather fascinated in my teens and 20s with serial killers, just the mindset. I did a lot of reading on the psychosis of it and kind of what went into it, how they got caught. So I did a lot of reading on Manson and that, the Manson family, on Dahmer, on the Night Stalker, on Ed Gein, on one of the scariest, in my opinion, was John Wayne Gacy, the man who used to dress up as a clown to entertain children at the hospital.
No. I definitely won't sleep tonight at this point.
So I've done a lot of research on a lot of those.
Oh my
Zodiac
goodness.
was always really, really interesting in that the Zodiac seemed to want to be caught, but was so smart with his ciphers, his puzzles, and everything else that nobody, I mean, if it is,
he was hoping they would. He was hoping they would catch on to catch him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Most psychopaths, most serial killers want to be caught eventually. There's no point if people don't know how great they are and how smart they are. So it's something where a lot of them do want to get caught. It's a weird psychosis.
It's a game.
It is to them a lot of times.
It's all a game, but. Yeah, it's definitely something that was plaguing everybody for many years. People from that era were very terrified. I'm sure that because the thing is, he stopped writing letters. He stopped doing that for many years. He came back maybe they hadn't heard from him in 8 years or something like that.
It was 7 or 8 years, and then he sent another letter, and that's when he, I believe, made one of his phone calls to the San Francisco federal
Chronicle.
no, he called the actual FBI, I believe, that time as well. Some of the investigators that were looking into him.
I mean, did these dudes not have any forensics? Like,
well, you got to remember,
it didn't exist back then.
Then you didn't have the type of DNA that you had. You didn't have the same type of forensics.
They just couldn't nail them.
I mean,
Wow.
DNA, the whole DNA, like, looking for DNA and stuff like that, that actually really started during the O.J. Simpson trials. That's when they were actually testing out the theory of testing DNA for possible match to a person's killer. So all this stuff happened before, they started looking at DNA and stuff. They basically based everything off of fingerprints and handwriting. That's what they were basing this off of, just fingerprints and handwriting. That's the reason why.
Are you the spy?
Well, that's that's how it was. And then Riverside PD is saying that's the reason why they don't believe. Say again?
Her little finger duster.
Pretty much, yeah, and the whole the magnifying glass and everything, kind of like Sherlock Holmes. But yeah, they basically Riverside PD is saying that's the reason why they don't believe that this Post guy was the Zodiac killer, because the handwriting and the fingerprints did not match. So they were basing it off of that. They're still basing it off of that years later, decades later, when they should really be testing his DNA. But it is what it is. Point is, we have no idea which one it was.
It's still a fascinating puzzle, and the truth is that at this point,
like
that's all
Brian
it is.
Laundrie.
It's a puzzle. Yeah,
what's this like?
Oh yeah, the Brian Laundrie thing. He's still at large. They still haven't been able to find him yet. He's still at large.
If they find him croaked, then it's similar.
But. Yeah, I'm sure his
pretty much.
family has no idea where he is.
Right. Well, his dad has joined the search now, so we don't know yet. But anyways, in other entertainment news, we basically were Dave Chappelle is the cancel culture, the infamous cancel culture, which I can't really stand, is asking for Dave Chappelle's.
The one that doesn't really exist.
Oh my God, I hate that term, the cancel culture, because it's just a bunch of people that if you don't agree with them, they don't want you to be seen. And that's
I'm
the dumbest thing.
Cancel all green M&Ms.
Don't do that.
Don't you dare.
Don't do that. That's wrong. Guys,
here's my
Well,
thing.
see, the thing with Dave Chappelle is you can't cancel him.
It's funny.
Eminem doesn't give he doesn't care what people think of him, and Dave Chappelle really does not care.
Well, and he doesn't care. He really doesn't care because he's actually mocking them. He went on and basically he had he was doing a screening at for his new documentary at LA's Hollywood Bowl, and he basically said, "quote If this is what being canceled is like, I love it." He really doesn't care. I mean, cancel culture to me is just a bunch of crybabies. That you said this, you said that. We're cancel you. Yeah, come on.
Hold on, I'm going to give you the other side of that though. Cancel culture is, in effect, capitalism working.
Oh,
you have done something that we don't like. Me as a consumer, I don't want to purchase from you now. And if enough people feel like me, then your business goes down the tubes. Now, I'm not saying I agree with it, but that is a essential right, freedom, whatever, in capitalism, in the way our society works when it comes to businesses. So cancel culture is nothing new. We have social media where people can get on the bandwagon quicker and you can circle the wagons quicker. But the truth is,
it's just more extreme.
Well, it definitely is more extreme now because you get so many more people.
Society, and it's
well, that's the thing, is it really doesn't even happen. I mean, there's a great, I will get the link for you and we can post it at some time. There is a great analysis that I saw on this. The guy's a congressional scholar and a bunch of other stuff. And he broke it down for about an hour about how cancel culture really doesn't actually exist. And he talked about, oh, well, this person was canceled. Oh, really? Were they? Let me see. 3 months later, they're touring here, and here. Oh, this person.
It's free publicity.
They can't. Oh no, it's here and now they're doing this, and they were off for 6 months. There really is no cancel. No one's ever been totally canceled, even to this point. I mean, we have had some people do some horrendous, awful stuff, and short of them ending up in prison, like
that's what I'm saying.
Harvey Weinstein.
Chris Brown has an amazing career, and I mean, I love his music. But like,
and people keep going. I mean, R.
Yeah,
Kelly got away
there's
with it
some
for a
worse
long time,
things.
you know?
people
You know,
feel,
and you actually bring up a good question right here involving R. Kelly. R. Kelly has been found guilty of all those crimes that he committed. Now the question is, are we still going to have R. Kelly fans that love his music? Personally, I mean, the guy as a person is a scumbag, obviously.
they all are.
But as a singer, his
They
music,
all
I still
are.
like his music. I mean, look at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, you know, many people accuse him of being a child molester and this, that, and the other.
I
But
do
yet,
know from some people who were very close to him and worked with him for a long time that he did not do any of those things.
Well,
And
I will say this: you don't pay 4 different children $22 million each to keep their
True.
mouth shut if nothing happened.
You have a point there.
I'm sorry, I cannot subscribe to that.
Right.
I've been
I
around
didn't
too
know
much
all
of that. Yeah, there were multiple different payoffs of over $20 million in legal settlements. I mean, there was all done legally. It wasn't hush money. It was done legally, but
Right.
because they accepted the money, there were NDAs. Nothing could be discussed, and there you go. So
Yeah, I mean,
and I for me, I have a hard time with it. I do. I grew up with Michael Jackson's music. It's a part of my childhood. It's a part of my life. But I do find myself struggling a little bit to enjoy his music like I used to, especially being someone who was sexually abused as a child, something I've talked about on here before. You know, it makes it hard for me to enjoy his music and to separate the two. I don't hold it against anybody who can make that separation, but I really can't.
no. If he really did it, then it's just, again, I'm of the same ilk as you are, so those things affect me very much. So
at this point, I mean, I gotta go ahead and say, you know what? I still like their music. I'm still gonna listen to their music. The person themselves,
to love now, but here's my only thing is like, there are, I would say, probably like 70% of the guys in the industry done very similar things, and no one will ever find out. So, and I don't think like the situation with R. Kelly, even you could even put it in the same category as like Dave Chappelle saying, well, why is this guy canceled for saying something about, you know, on a topic regarding what he did, right? The baby or whatever it was he was talking on, versus like when he murdered someone. You know, we didn't cancel him for murdering someone. We canceled him for, you know, or whatever. So,
well, and going back to Dave Chappelle's case, apparently he made some comments about the LGBTQ plus community, and they didn't like that too much. That's why a lot of the cancel culture is coming from that side.
Right.
But according to, like, because I haven't seen the special yet. It's on Netflix. I haven't seen it yet, but many people that have seen it have commented and said Dave Chappelle didn't say anything derogatory, and he didn't really say anything bad.
Because I would have been like upset, not to be like, oh, cancel, but like, if he said something messed up, I'd be upset about it. But
all he said was that, you know, they get more breaks than black people do, according to what I've read. Is what he said.
Dave Chappelle.
I mean, but that's Dave Chappelle for you. That's what he says. That's the stuff that he says.
Dave has always been, you know, raw and out there, and will say it exactly like he thinks it. But Dave has had a history with the LGBT community. He has said some very openly aggressive things about trans male and female people.
Got it.
And the jokes are starting to wear thin with that community. Now he feels very strongly, and I gotta say, I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs of that. I mean, I am a complete and total supporter of LGBTQ rights. Everybody, you know, has a right to exist exactly as they feel. You know, it doesn't affect me.
I've never really been in a universe of homophobia. I had a friend who was trans when we were like 7, like she knew, he knew, and it was like, like there was no one looked at him funny. Our teachers, like nobody acted weird about it. Like, so when I hear the stories of how crazy it was for the LGBT community, like kind of, you know.
And still can be. I mean, it still really is.
Now,
in
as
a
a
lot
Black
of places.
female and being biracial and
Mm-hmm.
dealing with racism in my own family to extremes and growing up in abject poverty and going through all those things and all of the kinds of abuses from the time I was beaten out of the womb, I could relate more to, you know, my community being Cherokee, being from a freed slave family,
Mm-hmm.
But for the LGBTQ, yeah, I'm not cool with people like saying messed up things. I never really paid much attention to Dave Chappelle until like people were getting upset.
Here's the thing: is some of what Davis said is a part of the discussion that needs to be had. Some of the strongest statements he's made has been about transgender athletes competing against women. You know,
Yeah,
like we just had
because women have fought so hard for our rights.
Absolutely, and also
Exist.
in mixed martial arts, we just had a trans woman who beat the living crap out of another woman.
No. Yeah.
This,
there's a lot of stuff.
This trans woman who is bigger by muscular, more powerful, more has, you know, I mean, you could see the difference. You could eyeball the difference even if you know nothing about fighting.
Yeah.
And so Davis tried to address that to a degree. He's been a little aggressive about it.
And scholarships.
Exactly. So that's part of the bigger discussion.
And
All that needs to be talked about. And is he doing it in the right way? Maybe not. You know, he's maybe doing it in a way
that's not what you say.
It's, you know, it's how you say it. Exactly. But again, is anybody really getting canceled? No.
Oh, that's
You know,
never
people are gonna get a little pissy. You know, he might
We'll
lose.
get canceled before Dave Chappelle gets canceled.
He might lose one sponsorship, and he'll have it back the next week. I mean,
And that's just Dave for you. That's just Dave for you. He's just gonna go ahead. He's moving forward. Obviously, he's already moving forward from this
I think
situation.
it's best that everyone feels free to say what they need to say, because if we don't have that, then you're gonna have a lot of people hiding things.
absolutely.
I agree with that, but unfortunately, right now, everybody's too damn sensitive for their own good, and it's annoying as all hell. So it is what it is. But you know, he's good, and he just released his new documentary. Netflix special is doing fantastic. Everybody's loving it, so good for him. I'm gonna watch it probably tonight. I mean, it is Friday after all, and I have no life, so I'll probably just be here at home doing nothing. Anyways, moving on in other entertainment news, Madonna decides to make Jimmy Fallon incredibly uncomfortable.
I know about.
That was man, she's 63 and still very, very playful.
It's a very Madonna thing to do,
I mean, it's just so funny because Jimmy said something about you're an artist. He's like, well, that's what we artists do. We're here to disrupt. You know,
right.
And I gotta ask you, Amanda. You know what I mean? Is that true? Are artists here to disrupt, to cause chaos?
I mean, I think.
Oh, now you got all sweet and innocent right now. You're like, what, me? No, never.
Well, you know what? I really feel that each artist is an instrument for the creator, the divine source energy to work through. And each of us is just so different that, you know, maybe some are here to disrupt, some are here to elevate, some are here to do both, some are here to bring inspiration, some are here to bring out all the darkness. You know, everyone is different. You know, personally as an artist, I don't just like painting in one color. Like, I'm very multidimensional as a person. I don't know that I would jump on Jimmy Fallon's desk if I were, but hopefully, hopefully by the time I reach my, you know, elder years, I'll be in good enough spirits to do what Maddie did. I don't know if it was like family friendly. I think.
It was definitely not family friendly. I mean, Jimmy did the best he could to like cover up some of the like crazy antics that she was doing. They did like some sort of a script read where she had to like pretend she was licking an ice cream, and she was doing just that in a very, very sexual way. And Jimmy's like, no, like he's trying to cover her. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Jimmy, stop. It's Madonna. Let her do what she's got to do, okay? Just let her be her.
Kind of, in a way, it's cool like that. Like J-Lo and Maddie are like redefining what it means to be like mature.
Cougars?
No,
Milfs? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I could imagine Jeremy maybe jumping on Jimmy Fallon's desk and doing all that stuff.
I think Jeremy should try it.
What are you talking about? There's a long history of people doing stuff like this already. We have Tom Cruise losing it on Ellen and Oprah at different times.
Oh, we did.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
that's true.
We had Drew Barrymore flashing David Letterman.
What?
Getting up on his desk and flashing Letterman.
Yeah,
we
what
have
Madonna
Miley
did.
Cyrus, who had, I think, Letterman or Fallon feel her up. There's people, you know, she like jumped on the desk and grabbed his hand. I don't remember which one it was.
She also flashed the audience, according to reports too.
So
Wait,
again,
which
we've had
one?
a lot of people. Madonna. Apparently.
Oh yeah, last night. She
So-
did. Well, wait, no, she did. She showed off her BBL.
Her what?
The whole thing like remember the Grammys where
Yes.
she turned around? Okay, because she got a Brazilian butt lift.
Oh, that's right. They were talking. Yeah, that's right.
Yes,
That's right. They were talking about that.
Really proud of it.
Well, that's one thing, but apparently she flashed her top to the audience.
Last night?
No, well, is it? Well, hold on. Was it?
When
I'm
was
looking
it?
at it right now.
I'm not really believing.
I think the flashing that they were talking about was her butt. She was flashing her butt. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was her. That was
Then Drew already got them all beat.
I think the only thing that made it controversial was Madonna's age, but like at the same time, you need to like thank her because if like 60 is the new 25.
I thought 60 was like the new 80 or something. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, she still looks good. She still looks good for 60. I mean, you know, she's got a lot of energy, so good for her to continue to do what she's doing.
My
I mean,
business manager before he passed, the great Burt Padell, godfather of the music industry. He was her business manager for like 3 decades, and he told me quite a few interesting stories. So
I would bet.
I don't think I could see anything that would surprise me at this point.
I mean, I actually have a friend of mine, my friend Angie. She actually told me a very, very, very XXX rated story about Madonna. Now, whether or not it's true or not,
It's
no
probably
idea.
true.
I mean, I wouldn't
I'm
put it
telling
past
you.
her, but it had to do with a limo and some girl-on-girl action.
Oh, it's definitely true.
I mean, this is just what she told me she experienced, so I have no idea. It could be true. I don't know if it was true, like if she was the one, like saying, like being honest about it, or if it really did. I have no idea. I wasn't there, although I'm sure me and many other guys probably would want to be there to see that. So, maybe not. God.
Well, I love you guys. Jeremy, amazing to meet you in
Amanda,
the
so nice to finally see you.
I'm sorry that I don't have as much knowledge of the serial killing.
Oh, no, please, you were wonderful.
But
Not a problem.
Thank you for having me.
No worries.
Dave, are we not using the Z?
No, we're not there anymore.
Okay.
We're not there anymore.
I gotta get used to this.
I know, right? I was gonna say, I was like, I hope she doesn't call me by my former name. I really
I
do.
okay.
No,
Well,
but
okay, loves.
thank you so much, Amanda, for being on the Navarro-Miller Report, and I hope that we get to see you again very soon.
Absolutely, so much fun.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Bye.
So, I mean, another little another news topic that happened was Woody Harrelson punching a guy. Like this, like he punched a guy, but what happened here is that he punched this guy because he was taking pictures of him and his daughter. So, honestly, right there, I would probably, I mean, apparently, according to reports, It says it's on 2fab.com. It says, quote, the incident went down Wednesday night at the rooftop bar of DC's Watergate Hotel, where Harrelson has been filming the HBO series The White House Plumbers about the Watergate scandal. It says that it was a matter of self-defense, according to police, who say Woody Harrelson punched a man who would not stop taking pictures of the actor and his daughter. The actor allegedly told the man to stop taking their pictures and delete the ones he already had. So the guy's at fault here. I mean, it's about time that the guy that's taking the pictures gets punched and not the other way around, because that's pretty much how it happens a lot in this industry. And it's like, dude, this guy, like, when you're asked to stop and you continuously just keep going, I'm thinking, guess what's going to happen? Nothing good.
Now, I know Woody's, kids are older. I mean, obviously he's at a rooftop bar with his daughter. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it could be family friendly. Some bars call it a bar, but really it's more like a lounge.
Generally speaking, you're not seeing a lot of 7-year-olds running around those.
True.
So,
but I mean,
this isn't when I was little.
True, very true. But I mean,
you stick the 7-year-old up on the bar while you drank,
good times. See the cancel culture, damn it. Anyways,
but
so you're saying?
What was I saying?
I don't know. Did your brain just flatline right now?
Completely. No, what I was going to say was, you got to be careful messing with anybody's children. Plain and simple. Sure. I mean, plain and simple. We can go back. Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, both punched out paparazzi and photographers at different times for trying to get pictures of their kids. I think it was Alec when the guy actually stuck his camera and body inside the window to get the photo, and Alec just laid into him. I was absolutely for him doing that, and I applauded him for doing that. So you got to be careful when you're messing with people's kids. Most celebrities I know, even if they're not the most friendly, are willing to let you have a couple pictures, do whatever. But if you're going to be completely intrusive and you're going to be stalker-ish, then you could be in for a serious problem. And especially here, here in this area, people know. People know what a stalker is like, what this is like, and how it needs to be dealt with. So
agreed. And I mean, you as an actor, somebody that's known, I mean, obviously your kids are grown now, but put yourself in his position. Had that happen with you, I mean, what would you have done?
You know me, it'd have been over with. I mean, I've been in a few instances where the boys had been with Joni and I when we were traveling, when we were doing anything, and people wanted to maybe start taking pictures and stuff. And again, because of issues with Joni's ex and my boy's biological, we didn't want photos of them out there for anybody to be able to get a hold of. So we had a few instances where I had to ask someone to, please delete that. And people were very respectful. Had they not been, I may have been the guy grabbing their phone and smashing it and, you never faced a moment where you never faced a moment where somebody refused to delete it or anything like that? No, I only had to do it a couple times, and people were very cool about deleting it. I offered to take a picture of just me and them or something like that. But I never had an issue. Most people have been very, very respectful when it comes to that kind of thing with me, and I've never had to get too aggressive. You know the story of the only person who really got aggressive with me. That was back when I was like 14, and I was at the Grand Ole Opry, the amusement park there in Nashville. At Grand Ole Opryland, and this woman tried to drag me by the arm across the park to go meet her daughter.
Oh, that's a no-no.
You could say that. And I was 14 at that time, so I removed her hand quite forcefully from me and told her, in no short terms, not to touch me again. And her, how to say this nicely, toothless redneck bumpkin of a husband came over and decided to get in my face and threaten a 14-year-old.
Wow, what a scumbag, dude.
I almost kicked him in the nuts, to tell you the truth.
I wouldn't have blamed you. I would have done the same thing.
Our security came over and got it handled and got him out of our, but that's basically what happened. I was being very nice to this lady, and I said I'd be happy to come and, tell me where your daughter is. I'll come by and say hi. I'd be absolutely happy to. And she grabbed me by the shoulder, and this was a rather large woman. She was pushing 200 plus.
I was about to say, how large was she?
She's dragging me physically across the park, and I was having none of that.
Wow.
So, but for the most part, people have been extremely respectful. I've never had to have too many confrontations like that. Short of the few people who walked up and weren't like, "Aren't you Ben?" or "Aren't you Jeremy Miller?" and then they just hit me. So, but those only happened a few times.
I mean, they just hit you. What do you mean they just hit you?
I had about 3 different instances where somebody just walked up and was like, "Hey, don't you play Ben Seaver?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." And they just literally sucker punched me.
What? Why? Why?
Well, one time was because
this is new. This is new to me. I never heard of this before. This is a new story for me.
One time was up at the what was it? Up at Universal Cineplex.
Yeah.
We were going to see a movie up there, and I'm in the lobby. Didn't even get to see my movie because we both got tossed out. So I got in a fight with this guy. And apparently his girlfriend had a crush on me.
Oh my God.
And he didn't like it or something like that. So
oh my God.
That's what I could gather from the babble he was spewing at me after he hit me, and in between me jumping up and kicking his ass. So,
well, I mean, so these people, they hit you because
I have no idea.
Okay,
it's not like I was able to get down to it or really get a good, conversation going with them after that. So
yeah,
I have
right.
No idea, but at least 3 different times in my life, when I was younger, I had somebody just walk up and say, "Hey, aren't you Jeremy Miller? Or aren't you Ben Seaver? Or don't you play Ben Seaver?" Whatever it was, and then literally sucker punch me.
Wow, that's freaking nuts. It's like you had to, like growing up, you had to go ahead and deal with it at school, and then you had to deal with it with strangers. Like that's ridiculous. That's just nuts. Well, I mean, Woody Harrelson, he had a point to go ahead and do what he did. I'm glad that he did.
Absolutely back him 100% on that, especially if he gave the guy fair warning, to leave him alone.
According to reports, he did.
Then,
he asked him not to do that.
If the guy's going to keep being intrusive like that, that is crossing the lines into stalker territory, and good on Woody.
Agreed. In other entertainment news, looks like the old show, That 70s Show, is getting a spinoff called That 90s Show. Now, a lot of people may actually get confused because there wasn't a spinoff. There was another show that Fox got out, which was just called That 80s Show. And it was had nothing to do with That 70s Show. It had nothing to do with them or anything like that. So a lot of people were confused. It only lasted 1 season before it was canceled. But they're coming out with a new one. Netflix just greenlit today. Actually, they just greenlit a brand new series called That 90s Show, and this, it's going to be Bonnie Turner and Terry Turner. They reunite. They were the series creators. They are reunited, and this actually, they're going to be bringing back Kurtwood Smith that played Red Foreman on the show. Deborah Jo Rupp that played Kitty Foreman. She's going to be coming back as well. So they're going to be reprising their roles, and it has to do it's pretty much around Leah Foreman, the daughter of Eric Foreman and Donna. So obviously we know who Eric Foreman is. We know who Donna Pinciotti is. They were both they were both in love, this and the other, throughout the entire series that went out. So this has to do with their daughter. According to what reports are saying, I guess the daughter goes and stays with the grandparents, and everything just starts all over again. The sex, the drugs, everything comes back again, just like it did on That 70s Show, only years later. So it'll be interesting to see Red Foreman threatening his granddaughter that he's going to put his foot in her ass, because that was his coined phrase throughout the entire show of That 70s Show. But the real question is, because they're saying that a lot of the characters are going to come back to reprise their roles. Now, the role of Hyde, played by Danny Masterson, That's going to be something that is a question mark because, as we all know, Danny Masterson is facing a lot of serious allegations, rape allegations, stemming from many women that have accused him right now, and it's not looking good for him so far. That's why they killed off his character on the ranch. Spoiler alert, just in case you haven't seen it. But yeah, they killed off his character on the ranch. So I don't know how they're going to do this.
Spoiler alerts come before you say it.
Yeah, well, it was years ago. Who cares? So, I mean, what do you think, Joe? What do you think about this?
They're going to have to write around it. I mean, they're not going to introduce somebody else to play that character. They're going to have to write around it. And it's been done before. I mean, look at Fuller House with the Lori Loughlin situation.
Yep.
The Connors with Roseanne.
Those are easier situations to write off, too.
I don't know if it's easier. I mean, Haig was such an irresponsible. I mean, was a fun character, but he's such an irresponsible dipstick. I mean, they could kill him off 1,000 different ways and make it very believable. So
actually, I would have had to say that about Ashton Kutcher's character, Kelso. he was
but Kelso's too dumb to die. He's one of those innocents that's just gonna stumble through life, and Haig was devious, and you knew karma was gonna catch up with him eventually.
True, because he was always the one that had Kelso do stupid things. He was the one that planned it out. So I mean, you're right. It might be that eventually one of Hyde's plans to screw Kelso backfired on him, and he got screwed instead. So that could be a way they could write off Hyde, or have him put it in jail because. In one of the episodes of that 70s show, Eric went into the future shortly after he broke up with Donna, and it was kind of like It's a Wonderful Life type of episode. Mm-hmm. And in that episode, they showed Eric years in the future, and Donna had hooked up with Hyde. And then when they had they reunited, he asked where Hyde was, and she was like, "Oh, he's in prison again." So they could go ahead and fix it that way so that Hyde is in prison.
Any number of things can apply to Haig's character.
True. True.
I mean, Hyde, that's any you could go so many different paths to, kind of get him to explain why he's not around. But with everything that he's facing right now and the backlash that would entail, they're going to write around it. There's no way that they'll include him.
Most definitely. I agree with that. Well, we'll have just to wait and see. I'm curious to see who they're going to cast as Eric and Donna's daughter. I'm curious to see who they're going to cast as her and who the rest of the friends. I'm curious also to see which characters are going to come back to reprise their roles. That should be very interesting. I'd love to see Kelso again because he's an idiot. So that'd be great for him and Red to get into it again as they always did. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll see what happens. They haven't set a date as to when it will premiere. It's just been greenlit as of today. So we'll just have to wait and find out to see what happens. In sports, your boys in blue, they're going up against the rivals, the Giants, man. I mean, this is a fight for the World Series. This is going to be something that's going to be like, this is a crosstown rivalry, and you and I, we talked about this. And
this is the fight for the division. We still gotta win this, and then we still have one more team, one more National League series after this.
Isn't Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay?
No, Tampa's playing New York right now, or Boston.
True, yeah. Boston. The winner of that faces off their division.
Chicago White Sox, I think.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the winner of those two will play for the division title, and then it's us, and I don't know who else is in. I honestly have only been paying attention to the Dodgers and Giants.
Talk about a crazy wild card game. Dodgers against the boys that you were worried about, the Cardinals.
I mean, I told you, man.
I mean, how many innings did it go into? Like 30?
No, that's the wonderful thing is it was over in 10, I believe, or 9. It was
yeah, because I mean,
like it went on a lot longer, but it actually
I thought they went extra innings.
If they did, it would only went to like 10.
Yeah, because the deal breaker was
9 because Kenley Jansen came out and pitched the beginning of the 9th when it was tied. And then we came out and did our home runs and things.
They were tied the entire game 0-0 until that freaking. Well, they were 1-1. I thought the home run was the game decider.
No, the Giants had scored in the first inning, I believe, first or second inning. They went up 1-0.
Giants.
I'm sorry, Cardinals. We're up.
I was like the Giants. We're not there yet.
I'm looking at the ticker. But the Cardinals were up 1-0 in like the first or second inning. And then around the third or fourth inning, we tied it up. And then it went just completely 1-1, 1-1 the whole way. And ninth inning, we pulled out the 2-run homer to win it, man.
And now we're going up against the rivals, the Giants. Actually, they're actually playing right now. They're
Right
about
now.
to start playing very soon. So that's going to be an interesting game to see who's going to go ahead and go forward. I don't think you're worried about the Giants. I'm not as much as you were with the Cardinals.
No, the Cardinals have, for whatever reason, had our number for a very long time, especially in these short series playoffs. We've played them multiple times in the one-game winner-take-all and in those shorter series, and they have just always seemed to have the Dodgers' number and give us a really hard time. As good as the Giants are, I mean, they beat us 10-9 in the season series, so they were up one game, and they were up one game overall as well. They won 107 games, we won 106. But in the playoffs, your pitching staff matters so much more. And I will take Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler, and Julio Urias against any other three pitchers in the league right now. I mean, they're pitching great. They're top of their game. Max has struggled just a little bit the last couple of games, but still only gave up one run, even pitching, having an off pitching game. I feel confident with those guys. In a best of 7 series, if you have 3 great starters, I mean, you can literally pitch them back to back. You don't even need to use a fourth starter because you get enough days off that by the time you get to that fourth game, there's been a day off. It's 5 days of rest. It's what they're used to, and you can pitch the number one pitcher again. So I got a feeling the Dodgers' arms are going to win out in the long run. The Giants are a very talented team, but they're also a very, very veteran team. They're a team that people are still kind of waiting for them to fall apart a little bit. They're older guys who have been stars, who've played very well for a long time, but are kind of playing above their heads right now. And I'm not sure how long they can keep that up. We'll see. I mean, they've done it all season. So I got a feeling the Dodgers' arms are gonna decide this one.
Well, they're going to be coming on. They're going to be coming on right now, actually, fairly soon. So we'll just have to see the end result of all this. In other sports news, we got Jalen Smith going to the Packers. I mean, that for me, I think that's a good pickup right there. He's still very young. We need somebody strong since I believe it was Zadarius. I think it was Zadarius or Preston. I get the Smith guys confused all the time. But now we have a third Smith going to that position.
Apparently, you guys really like the name Smith.
I guess.
The line.
I have no idea. That's actually a really good position for him to be at. The Cowboys released him, and he went over to the Packers. The Packers picked him up. So I think that's a good pickup. I mean,
I think it's a solid pick. It's not going to cost them a heck of a lot to bring him in and see where he can fit and see if he can contribute. I'm sure it's kind of a no-lose situation for them. If it works out, they look like geniuses. And if it doesn't, they're able to let him go pretty easily.
True. And I mean, like we need, again, defense. It just really irritates me because defense, I think we're set defensively. We need a better offensive line. That's what keeps on, that's what boggles my mind about the management in Green Bay. It's like, what are you guys thinking? We need more offensive linemen to cover and to protect our QB. That's one of the main reasons why Rodgers is saying goodbye, because they're just not doing anything to protect them.
I agree completely, brother. You know me. I believe, like most other old school football people and football coaches believe, games are won in the trenches. And if you are trying to prolong the career of a great quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, and you're trying to help that offense succeed, it's ridiculous to not invest in an offensive line that's going to keep him up and be able to protect him better.
True. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, Seattle suffered a major loss last night as Russell Wilson is out for about a month or so with a broken finger. I mean, I saw the pictures of it.
Don't.
That thing looked like a zigzag. It looked all funky.
Yes, I know. I saw. It was one of those that I could feel because I've done it, and it hurts.
He needs to have surgery. That's how bad it is. That he needs to have surgery on it.
Most likely torn the tendons for it to have gone that direction, and yeah, it's not good. And this is, as you know, incredibly rare. Russell Wilson has never missed a game in his career.
Yeah.
Never. Not one time.
The guy's a machine.
He is the most durable player I've seen since, I guess it was Favre, who played in however many consecutive.
Yep.
But, Russell Wilson he has never missed a game in his whole, 11-year career now, 10-year career?
Something like that, yep.
And that's amazingly impressive.
I mean, is this a show of him getting up there in age that...
Well, this is a freak accident, honestly. I mean, anything with the fingers and the tendons in those fingers, especially on your throwing hand, I mean, that's a freak accident. If that happened to him the same way 5 years ago, and he's right in the middle of his prime, I think he's still missing a month or two. You still have to have surgery. You still got to deal with the tendons. You still got to get everything, working properly. So I don't think it's as much of an age thing. This isn't, a hip injury or a nagging hamstring that he just can't get right, or any of those other things that are more age attributable.
True. I mean, it just sucks. It just really sucks for Seattle. Seattle's going to be suffering. I mean, quite frankly, I'm not really feeling too bad.
Well, I know you're not.
Pete
You're
Carroll.
not exactly a huge...
I'm not a huge Pete Carroll fan for
really?
obvious reasons. For obvious reasons, I'm not a huge Pete Carroll fan. So really, I'm like,
when he coached the Trojans, we smacked all your teams all the time. Was that why?
I hate you. Really hate you right now.
Seriously, think about it though.
Yeah.
I mean, this is on his throwing hand, and he's
True.
a quarterback.
And that's when he needs that.
You need the tips of your fingers to get the proper spin on the ball, the proper control.
Yep.
This is not like Ronnie Lott, who had the same injury and told him, well, chop it off. I'm not missing the playoff game.
I remember that. Jesus.
Well, he's not a quarterback. He didn't need that same ability to feel and touch, and it was something he was able to do.
True.
Russell Wilson can't say, yeah, hack it off, I'll be fine. I think it's going to be really weird for Seattle. I mean, they have never played a game without him.
Without him, yeah, no, it's
they've played maybe a quarter where he got injured, but they've never started a game and had him not be there to play.
And to add insult to injury, they lost against the Chargers too. Just to go ahead and really get that last little in there, they lost against the Chargers. They not only lost their quarterback, they lost the game. I mean, that's just horrible to have. That's a twofer right there. But I mean, Russell will be back. I mean, I just think that I mean, I think he's got, like, I would imagine he would have at least another good 6-7 years left, almost like Rodgers has a few more years left. And I mean, the guy's still good.
He's still good. He's a mobile quarterback, so maybe he's taken a few more hits than, most, but Rodgers was, much more mobile in his youth as well, and definitely ran a lot more often. I could easily see Russell playing another 6 years. I mean, he seems to be, as you said, a machine. I mean, he hasn't missed a game until now. This is kind of a freak injury rather than a nagging injury or something that'll kind of last down the road. So, I don't see any reason why this will permanently set him back at all.
Which is more than you could say for Richard Sherman.
Yeah, that one I just don't get. I'm sorry. I mean, please, Richard, I know you're a tough guy. Don't come kick my ass for saying this, but I don't know what Tampa Bay thinks they're getting with him. I mean, he's been on the downside of that career for a while now. Yeah. And, I just don't know what the Tampa Bay defense gets out of signing him. His body is not what it used to be. I doubt he can stay healthy the whole season, and I just don't know what he still has to contribute. I mean, there's a reason he was let go by, Seattle. There's a reason he moved on and wasn't signed to San Francisco by anybody this year. There's a reason San Francisco let him go. I mean,
we'll see. Well, I mean, at some point,
it catches up to you.
We'll just have to see what happens in all of that. I mean, we'll see what goes on. That's the news. In case you haven't heard it, thanks again for watching us here. Thank you, Amanda Holley, for being a part of our show this time around. Jeremy, I mean, always a pleasure, my friend.
Always, brother. And we can lie to each other on air.
Right, exactly. Make sure to check us out. We are also streaming now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and a few other sites. So make sure you check us out on those as well. Make sure you like, subscribe to the YouTube channel because we have a lot of other shows coming up. But for now, that's it for us. We'll see you guys next time. Up next, we're closing out the show with Amanda Holley's Runaway. We'll see y'all next time.
No, I don't give a damn. You just screwed up, it's your chance. I'm on a new wave, and need to slow it down, but pump your brakes. Switching double lanes, boy, you are lame. You talk that talk, but you can't back it up. Feeling some kind of way, I had enough. I'ma let you run. Run away, run away, run away, run away. But you ain't gonna break my heart, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. Ain't got no time to beg or place a name. Baby, for my day, don't place a play. I'ma let you run, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. Feeling yourself, you got nerve. You got blocked, you got curved. I'm on a new wave, and need to slow it down, but pump your brakes. Switching double lanes, boy, you are lame. You talk that talk, but you can't back it up. Feeling some kind of way, I had enough. I'ma let you run, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. But you ain't gonna break my heart, boy. No, run away, run away, run away, run away. Ain't got no time to play, no place to make. Baby, for my day, don't place a play. I'ma let you run, boy. Run away, run away, run away, run away. Run, boy, run, boy. Run, boy, run, boy. You run, boy.
That was